Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at this position. It is white to move. But before thinking about making a move, we have to scan the position first. So as you can see, the knight is hanging, and this pawn is also hanging. The bishop here is holding this pawn from promoting, and this pawn is also ready to promote after two moves. So we need to do something. Now, once this pawn lands on b2, you can see there's no clear way of stopping the promotion on b1. I mean, the bishop is a dark square bishop, so it can only stop the pawn from going to b2, but it can never stop it from actually promoting. The knight is too far, and is not going to be in time to actually stop the pawn. So now it is up to you to pause the video for a while to try to see, or to pause the video and try to see what is the best move for white in this position. Because there's only one move that leads to a win, and everything else it might lead to a draw or even a loss for white. Okay, hopefully you paused the video for a while. Now, if you thought about the immediate and very obvious move, bishop to d4, you're stopping this pawn from, pushing, because once it lands there, you can take it. Actually, you're not stopping the pawn from going to b2. The reason for that, he can still play b2. Now you have to deal with two pawns. This pawn ready to promote, and this pawn ready to promote as well. If you take here, he will make a queen, and if you take this one, he's going to make a queen on this side, and he's going to be losing. Now, and even if you took this pawn before, he's going to push, and there's just no way to stop the pawn on b, this pawn promotion. Okay. Now, so thinking about this knight, we all know it's going to be dying, because we have to deal with this pawns being pushed. So we have to make forcing moves. And what are the forcing moves? They are checks, captures, and attacks. And now we only have a check, and it is the only check on the board, so bishop to e3 check. Now, what if black decided to take this pawn? King takes h5. After this, another time, this pawn is ready to promote, and this pawn is ready to move as well, and we cannot stop the pawn from promoting. So we have to make as well another forcing move. For example, knight to f4 check. Here, black has two options, either to take the pawn on h4 or to play king to h6. Now, if he went back to h6, we have a really good move. Knight takes a g2 check with the bishop discovered check. The king moves here, it doesn't matter. Now we can play bishop to d4 to stop the pawn from pushing. We get the king close, and then we attack this pawn, we win it, and then we will be able to win the other pawn. So for example, he goes back, we play king here, and there's nothing he can do. I mean, he needs to keep defending this pawn. So he pushes here, we have a check, and if he went all the way like this, we just have some kind of a knight e3. He cannot defend the pawns, he's going to lose this one and the other one, or like this as well. So he's going to lose, and we also have a pawn ready to promote. So he's going to be losing once he go king to h6. But what if he took the pawn on h4? What would you play here? The same thing. These pawns are ready to push, so we have to make another forcing move. So checks, captures, and attacks. We have this check on f2, but the king will be able to run, and once it runs, we will be losing this game because of b2. So we have to make a forcing move that stops the king from running away, and it is knight takes g2 check, and he cannot go here because of the bishop. Now black has two options, either to go king h3 or king to h5. If king to h5, now we play bishop to d4, because there are no real checks right now. I mean, we can repeat moves if we want to, but bishop to d4 stops this pawn, and then the same thing. We get close, we attack the pawn twice, we win it, and then we can, and the king's very close to win the other pawn here when it starts to push. So it's going to be also a win. But what if he goes king to h3? Now what do we do? If we went, for example, bishop here, I guess there's some kind of a stalemating ideas, or yeah, it's not going to be good because it's not a forcing move. It's not actually threatening anything. So now we play the only move here in this position, and it is bishop to f4. Now the reason I'm not going to look into bishop to d4, because it's obvious you don't want to get into an endgame. You're just trying to defend yourself by just stopping a pawn. You're using an entire piece to stop a pawn. That's not good. First of all, we need to see if we can, checkmate our opponent. That's going to be much better than trying to take all these pawns, because even if we did that, knight and a bishop and a king, they are, winning, but you need to know exactly how to checkmate with the knight and the bishop against the king. And if you don't have time, it's not going to work. So in this position, you can see that the black king cannot go here, 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 or take. It can only go to h2. So now we have to stop the king from actually moving by playing bishop to f4. Now you might say, what is the idea of this move? He can just play b2 and then make a queen. That's completely insane. Well, now we need to play a checkmate. Now, if there was a knight to f4 check, the king will be able to run. So in order to stop the king from running, we play bishop to g3, defended by the king. Now, as you can see, the king cannot move, and knight to f4 will be checkmate. So it doesn't matter if he makes a queen, or rook, or a knight, it doesn't matter. And knight to f4 will be checkmate. So he cannot go, to the top, and he cannot take the pawn on h3. Okay. Or h4. Okay. Now, you might say there's something else. Like you might be thinking about another move, which is knight to f4. See, knight to f4 is a really beautiful move. You're defending this pawn, and the king cannot really move. It can only move here to g7. So what do you play? You play bishop, you just play knight to f4, so he pushes b2, and then you play bishop to c5. After bishop to c5, black, just pushes to the pawn, makes a queen, and then you win the game by bishop to f8 check. This is checkmate. The king cannot move anywhere. It cannot take this pawn because we're defending. But of course, black will not make a queen. He can just make a queen on g1, because if you play this check, he can just go back and block with the queen, and you cannot stop this pawn. So after takes, you can give him some checks. He gets here. You move the pawn, the knight. We give and then he promotes. So it's going to be losing. That's why it doesn't work. And even here, if we decide to take the queen, he can just promote here, attacking the bishop, threatening some checks, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for us. So knight to f4 doesn't work, and the only move that works, it is bishop to e3. But there's still one move that we did not look at. What that is. Let's see, for example, what happens after the king to g7. King to g7, running away. Now, actually, I did not look at this before because I thought it's completely winning because I can just take this pawn here. I know it's crazy a little bit because after takes, he cannot push because we have a check. And after the king moves somewhere, we take the pawn, he takes us here, and then we push, and then, I don't know, he tried to get closer or something, and he is not going to win the pawn. We're going to just get the king closer, and whenever he plays this, bishop c1, defending, and then all we need to do is just put the bishop there, get the king closer, stop him from moving, win the pawns. I think it's going to be winning, because we still have a pawn, and the most important thing, it's a dark square bishop. So whenever the king tries to hide on the promotion square, we have a check on b2 to kick him away. So this is 100% winning, even though we did not look into it thoroughly. But first, he cannot play this move b2 because it's going to be losing. So after this move, what if he just takes the knight? What's going to happen here? If he takes, I guess I don't think it's actually winning here for white. Isn't actually winning for white. I think it is, but I mean, I would probably like this move is good, but then it's going to go here. We're going to take, it's going to take. It's going to be able to actually win the pawn. So we also like how we have bishop to d4 and bishop to c1. Bishop here to stop this, and bishop to c1. Also, we're stopping the king from going here and stopping the pawn. So I'm guessing like bishop to c1. But what if he took? If he takes, we have some king g3, king f3, which is closer. He plays this, and I guess we get closer as well. We also have a check here. Like, we have many moves. I guess the best move to deal with this pawn is just to play bishop to b2 check. I'll force him away, and then you can get closer. He needs to move, takes, and then he needs to move again, and after this he moves, and then we take. And this is 100% winning. Because even if he tries to stay, he cannot stay in the corner because of the bishop. So also this variation is winning. So that was the video. Thank you so much for watching.